Hello everyone, my name is Manohar. I'm a data science trainer and consultant. Today in this session we are going to discuss about Python. Not only we discuss about Python, we discuss how Python is interlinked with web frameworks and why Python is used for machine learning. Let me tell you agenda for this discussion. In this discussion, we discuss about introduction to Python and then advantages of Python. After that, we discuss who uses Python. I mean various applications of Python. And then we discuss web frameworks of Python. And in the end, we discuss why Python is used for machine learning. Let me tell you what is Python first. Python is a high-level, general-purpose, interactive, and interpreted programming language. Python builds object-oriented approach, aimed to help programmers to write clear and logical code for small and large-scale projects. Its high-level built-in data structures combined with the dynamic typing and make it very attractive for rapid application development. Python is a dynamically typed and garbage collector. It supports multiple programming paradigms. It includes structured, particularly procedural-oriented programming. Python was developed in the late 1980s as a successor to the ABC programming language. Python 2.0 is released in 2000, introduced features like list comprehension and a garbage collection system. Python is simple, easy to learn. Syntax emphasizes readability and reduces the cost of programming maintenance. Python supports modules and packages, which encourages program modularity and code reuse. The Python interpreter and the extensive standard library are available in a source form and can be freely distributed. Often programmers fall in love with Python because it provides more productivity. Since there is no compilation step, the debugger cycle is incredibly fast. Debugging in Python programs is very easy. A bug or a bad input will never cause a segmentation fault. Instead, when the interpreter discovers an error, it raises an exception. The debugger is written in a Python itself. On the other hand, often the fastest way to debug a program is to add a few print statements to the source code. Let me tell you some features of Python. It is a free and open source. We can use Python software without any license and it is a free. You don't need to pay even single rupee to use it. Its source code is open so that we can modify the version based on our requirement. And it is simple, easy to learn. Python is a simple programming language. Whenever we read Python program, we feel like reading English statements and syntaxes are very simple. When compared with other programming languages, we can write programmers with very less number of lines and we can reduce the cost of project. And also, it is a high-level programming language. Python is a high-level programming language. It means programmer-friendly language. As a programmer, we don't require to concentrate on low-level activities like memory management and etc. And it is platform-dependent language. Once we write a Python program on Windows OS, it can run on any platform without rewriting once again. Internally, Python virtual machine is responsible to convert the code into machine understandable form. And also, it is a dynamically typed programming language. In Python, we are not required to declare a type of variable. Whenever we are assigning the value, based on that value, type will be automatically allocated. That's the reason Python is called dynamically typed programming language. This dynamic typing nature will provide more flexibility to the programmer. And also, it is an extensible programming language. If you write the code in a C or a C++ or Java programming language, you can convert that programming syntax into the Python syntax. The main advantages of this approach is we can improve the performance of the application. And Python is also called embedded programming language. If you write the programming logic in Python, we can convert that programming syntax into any other programming syntax. That's why Python is called embedded programming language. And also it is an interpreted programming language. Python is interpreted programming language. Interpreter means line by line code execution. If we write 100 lines of code, if it finds any error at the 97th lines, then 96 lines will execute and remaining lines does not execute. Whereas in a compiler programming language, if it finds any error, directly it raises an error. Not only code will execute. Let us discuss about Python advantages. Advantages of Python are very less coding and more productivity. It is an interpreted programming language and also it is a dynamically typed user-friendly programming language. Let me explain one by one with a few of examples per each. Firstly, let me explain list coding. Almost all the tasks done in a Python requires list coding, whereas in other programming languages, it requires more time. Python also has an awesome standard library support, so you don't search for any third-party libraries to get your job done. This is the reason that many people suggest learning to Python beginners. And next, productivity. With Python libraries, the developers get a head start without downloading separate modules and packages. With Python, the productivity increases 40% as compared to the traditional programming languages. And come to the interpreter, Python is called an interpreted programming language because it goes through an interpreter, which turns code you written into the language understood by your computer processor. Later on, when you work on your project and your computer, you will download and use the Python interpreter to be able to write code and execute on your own. And next, it is a user-friendly programming language. User-friendly describes a hardware device or software device that is easy to use. It is friendly to the user, it means it is not difficult to learn or understand. And finally, it is a simple programming language. A user-friendly interface is not overly complex. It providing quick access to the features or command, and it is intuitive in order to be user-friendly. An interface must be making sense to the average user and should require minimal explanation for how to use it. Let me explain applications of Python. Python uses by Google, NASA, YouTube, Facebook, Netflix, and in the web development and game development also. Let me tell you few examples about how we are using the Python in our web development and game development. In later slides, we discuss each of its application. Let me explain about web development in a Python. Python can be used to make web applications at rapid rate. Why is that? It is because of the frameworks uses Python to create these applications. There is a common backend logic that goes into the making these frameworks and a number of libraries that can help integrate protocols such as HTTPS and even help in the processing of JSON, XML, email, and many more. Some of the most well-known frameworks are Django, Flask, Pyramid. Why use a framework? The security, scalability, convenience that they provide development of a website from scratch. And next, come to the game development. Python is also used in the development of interactive games. There are libraries such as PySoy, which is a 3D game engine supporting with Python, and Pygame, which provides functionality and a library for game development. Games such as Civilization 4, Disney's Twin Town Online, and Vegas Tag, etc., have been built using Python. And let us discuss one by one each of application which I mentioned in this slide. Firstly, let me explain how Google using Python. Python has been an important part of the Google from the company's beginning. Python is recognized as an official language at Google. It is one of the key languages at Google today. Some of the key Python contributors are Googlers, and they continue to use, promote, and support to language actively. Python runs on many Google internal systems and shows up in a many Google APIs. It's perfectly suitable for engineering process at Google. Today, dozens of engineers are using Python, and we are looking for more people with the skills in this language. We are using Google's Gmail service to send mail. So we need some settings for Google security purposes if we require. To send mail, we don't need to any external library. There is a module called SMTP library which comes with a Python. It uses SMTP to send the mail. By the way, SMTP means Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It creates SMTP client session objects for mailing. Come to the web scraping with Python. Web scraping is an automated method used to extract large amounts of data from the websites. The data on the websites are unstructured. Web scraping helps to collect this unstructured data and store it in a structured form. There are the different ways to scrap a website, such as online services, APIs, or writing your own code. Let me explain how NASA is using Python. NASA is involved in all aspects of space, ranging from studying Earth's outer atmosphere to finding signs of life on other planets. You think that Tesla, Google, Uber, etc. were the first ones to heavily invest in self-driving cars. In fact, NASA had created the technology for autonomous driving for Mars rovers almost a decade ago. A machine learning based navigation and driving system for self driving Mars rovers is known as auto navigation. Auto navigation was actually used in the Spirit and Opportunity for rovers who landed on Mars. And Curiosity also uses auto navigation, and it is a rover that is still exploring Mars till date with the intention of finding water and other factors that might make Mars suitable for human exploration in the future. Now you would think that driving on Mars is completely easier than driving on congested roads of Earth, but it's not so easy. While the navigation does not have to worry about the rover hitting other vehicles or humans, but the surface is very rocky, so the navigation system has to make sure that the rovers does not hit any rocks. Come to the navigation unknown. What would happen if you got lost on Earth? Well, nothing much. You would you could just use GPS to reach your destination without a problem. But what if you go lost on the moon? Well, you had a better hope. Someone finds you because the GPS does not work on the moon. Currently, the NASA is working on a project to provide navigation on the surface of heavily bodies, including the moon. This project basically aims to provide GPS even on the lunar surface, just without using very expensive satellites. And that is not easy task, keeping in mind that surface is very rocky. This is done by feeding lots of images to machine learning system. If you are lost on the moon, you can take the images of your surrounding and the machine learning systems will be able to triangulate your location on the moon by comparing your images with the already created images in the database of lunar surface. While this technique is not perfected, it is still much better than anything already available and can be used on any planetary surface, not only in the moon. Come to the robotic astronaut. Normally, you would be the right person to grab the things in aerospace. But NASA had developed a robotic astronaut now. Science fiction is finally coming true. The Robonaut was primarily developed to work alongside the astronauts in space and help them in completing tasks by avoiding dangerous for humans. This was necessary as it will increase NASA's capacity for research and discovery in space with solar systems. As you can see from this image, Robonaut is now as an essential helper in space. To achieve this, Robonaut basically uses machine learning to think for itself. So the scientists or astronauts can give the tasks to the Robonaut and it figures out how to perform them. In general, Robonaut also has many advantages over normal humans like advanced sensors, insanely high speeds, compact design, and much higher flexibility. There is a lot of advanced technology that was used to develop Robonaut, which includes touch sensors at fingertips, full neck travel range, high resolution camera, and infrared systems. And let me explain how YouTube uses Python. YouTube is a very popular video sharing website. Downloading a video from YouTube is a tough job. Downloading the downloader and get a video using that and saves on your computer is a tough. But using Python, this task is very easy. Few lines of code will download the video from the YouTube. For this, there is a Python library named as PyTube. PyTube is a lightweight, dependency-free Python library which is used for downloading videos from the web. The YouTube Data API allows client session to retrieve data and update YouTube content in the form of Google data. Your client application can use the YouTube data to fetch, search, and update videos, comments, responses, playlist, user profile, and user can contact the video holder for any query related to the subject. Let us discuss how Python using Facebook. Python automation and controlling the browser is done with a Selenium. Selenium automates and controls the browser activities. We can code in our own way to control the browser activities with help of the Selenium. Primarily, it is for automating web applications for testing purposes, but it is certainly not limited to just that. Boring web-based administration tasks can be automated as well. As you learn more, it's so much fun to see things happening automatically and saving time in doing useless tasks again and again. We use Selenium here to open the site of our requirement, in this case Facebook. and we inspect elements across email box, password box, and login button to find the ID of them. Let us discuss how Netflix using Python. Netflix is an American company which renders video on demand services. Headquartered in Los Gatos, California, Netflix has about 148 million subscribers throughout the world, and the number, however, keeps growing each day. In a period of approximately 2 decades, Netflix has emerged as the king of the clan for the biggest TV series and movies throughout the world, being the fastest growing brand of America and having more revenue. Netflix makes use of Jupyter Notebooks, which is an open source web app used for Python web development, along with Interact extension of our Jupyter on a large scale. Jupyter is known to be a popular for data analysis. It serves very well in operational data analysis and visualization, which in turn help in detecting capacity regressions. Netflix content delivery network and easy through imprecise way of thinking about Netflix infrastructure, everything that happens before you press play on your remote control. Example, are you logged in? What plan do you have? What have you watched? So we recommend new titles to you. What do you want to watch? Task place in Amazon Web Services, whereas everything that happens afterwards takes place in the open content network. Content is placed on the network server is open content delivery network are close to the end user as possible, improving the streaming experience for the customer and reducing costs for both Netflix and our internet services providers. Various software systems are needed to design, build, and operate this CDN infrastructure, and a significant number of them are written in Python. The network devices that underlie a large portion of the CDN are almost managed by Python applications. Such applications track the inventory of our network gear, what devices of which models, which hardware components located in which sites. The configuration of these devices is controlled by the several other systems including source of truth, applications of configuration up to the devices, and backup. Device interaction for the collection of health and other operational data is yet another application, Python. Python has long been a popular programming language in the networking space because it's an intuitive language that allows engineers to quickly solve networking problems. Subsequently, many useful libraries get developed, making the language even more desirable to learn and use. Let me explain graphical user interface with Python. We can develop graphical user interface application with a Kinter module. Kinter is the standard graphical user interface library for Python. Python, when combined with a Kinter, provides a fast and easy way to create GUI applications. Kinter provides a powerful object-oriented interface to the Kinter graphical user interface toolkit. We can observe the image. There is a calculator that was developed with Python itself, but not with any web applications or any other languages. With Python, we can develop system level applications, but not with mobile level applications. With this Kinter module, we can create radio buttons, entries, labels, menus, fonts, colors, and dimensions, etc. Let us discuss web frameworks with Python. Firstly, let me explain about Django. Django is a free and open source full stack Python framework. It tries to include all of the necessary features by default as opposed to offering them as separate libraries. Features make Django highly scalable, ridiculously fast, and extremely versatile. Django uses its ORM to map objects to database tables. The same code works with different databases and it is not difficult to transfer from one database to another. The main databases that Django works with PostgreSQL, MySQL, SQLite, Oracle, and third-party drivers allows you to use the others as well. A lot of MNCs on worldwide scale uses Django and it is scalable to implement there without any defects or errors. It is the best example of Django being scalable. Scalability means the scope our technology gets implemented. For bigger websites like Instagram, there are lots of active users which generate data in a huge amounts. This kind of level requires our system or application to be very precious and error-free. It is, of course, difficult even for programmers and web developers that they have years of experience. Django is written by those experienced programmers from scratch without using any Python library. Existing other what the developers created themselves, thousands of testing and debugging, and now with a lots of time on the market side as the open source project makes Django ideal for anyone who wants to make their websites error free and scalable to a bigger environment. And next, come to the CherryPy. CherryPy is an open source web framework. It makes building Python web applications with no different than any building other object-oriented program. CherryPy is created to be extensible. The framework even offers mechanisms and extensions. For example, a CherryPy powered web app is a standalone Python application that embeds its own multi-threaded web server. With its own web server, the extension points include functions in outside the request response, thus adding to the level of CherryPy extensibility. And come to the bottleneck. Battle is a micro framework originally meant for building APIs. Battle implements everything in a single open source file. It has no dependencies apart from the Python standard library coding with Battle. You closer to the coding with any full stack framework. However, Battle match only if you are crafting any very small applications at more 500 lines of code and a special and no special requirements is there. And come to the Flask. The main idea behind the Flask is to help build a solid web application foundation. From there, you can use any extension you might need. Flask is chosen for any on all projects. In fact, it is easy default choice for any web project that is not matched as Django. Flask is a lightweight and modular designs make it is easily adaptable to developers. Most of the machine learning developers uses these Flask web frameworks to develop a machine learning projects. Deployment means making software available for use. The general development process consists of several interrelated activities with possible tractions between them. If you are developing a web app in Python, chances you are leveraging a framework. A framework is a core library that makes a developer's life easier than when building reliable, scalable, and maintainable web applications by providing reusable code and extensions for common operations. And next come to the TurboGates. TurboGates is an open source data-driven full stack web applications framework. It is built on lots of middleware and many libraries and was initially crafted to combine best components of other Python frameworks. TurboGates allows you to quickly develop extensible data-driven websites. It comes with a user-friendly templating engine and a powerful and flexible object relational mapping. In addition to a great templating system that make easier to designers, TurboGates offers a lot of flexibility, strong support, and reusable snippets. And finally, come to the Tornado. Tornado is a Python web framework and a synchronous networking library that focuses on speed and the ability to handle large volumes of traffic. It uses a non-blocking network and you solves the issue. It can handle more than 10,000 concurrent connections. This makes it a great tool for the building applications with a high performance. And let me explain how data visualization using Python. Python is also used in data visualization. There are some packages available with Python. They are Matplotlib, Seaborn, ggplot, Bokeh, Pagel, Plotly, Geoplotly, Glim, Leather. Matplotlib was the first Python data visualization library. Many other libraries are built on the top of it, designed to work with it during analysis. Some libraries like Pandas and Seaborn are wrappers over the Matplotlib. They allow you to access a number of matplotlib methods with a less code. While matplotlib is a good for getting a sense of the data, it's not very useful for creating charts quickly and easily. And matplotlib is extremely powerful, but that power comes with complexity. ggplot operates differently than matplotlib. It lets you later components to create a complete plot. For instance, you can start with axis and then add points and then a line and a trending line, etc. Although the grammar graph graphics has been praised as an intuitive method for plotting. Come to the bouquet. Bouquet works based on the grammar of graphics, but unlike ggplot, it's native to Python. The strength lies in the ability to create interactive web-ready plots, which can be easily output as JSON objects, HTML documents, or interactive web applications. Bouquet also supports streaming and real-time data. Bouquet provides three interfaces with varying level of control to accommodate with different user types. The highest level is for creating charts quickly. It includes method for creating common charts such as bar plots, box plots, and histogram. The middle level has the same as Matplotlib allows you to control the basis building blocks of each chart like the dots of the scatter plot. The lowest level is geared towards developers and software engineers. It has no preset defaulters and requires you to define very element of chart. And let us discuss about how machine learning uses Python. Machine learning is simple, making a computer to perform tasks without explicitly program. In today's world, every system works well with machine learning algorithms. For example, Google search engine, Amazon product recommendations, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. All these systems have machine learning algorithms embedded in their systems in one form or other form. They are efficiently utilizing data by collecting from various channels. With help of them, we are getting a picture of what they are doing and what they should do. Python is a widely used high-level programming language used for general purpose programming. Apart from other programming languages, Python is great object-oriented, interpreted, and interactive programming language. Python combines remarkable power with very clear syntax. It has modules, classes, exceptions, very high-level dynamic data types, and dynamic typing. Let me tell you some examples of machine learning. Firstly, let me explain virtual personal assistants. Siri, Alexa, Google are some of the popular examples of virtual personal assistants. As the name suggests, they assist in finding information. When you ask to overwise, you need to activate them and ask, what is my schedule for today? What are the flights from Germany to London, or any similar question you can ask. For answering, your personal assistant looks out for the information in other sources like phone apps to collect the information. You can even command to assist for certain tasks like set an alarm for 6 a.m. and then next morning, remind me to visit this office day after tomorrow, etc. Machine learning is an important part of these several personal assistants as they collect and refine information on the basis of your previous involvement with them. Virtual assistants are integrated to a variety of platforms, for example, smart speakers like Amazon Echo, Google Home like. Let me tell you about predictions with machine learning. Firstly, let me explain traffic predictions. We all have been using GPS navigation services. While we do that, our current locations and velocities are being saved at a central server for managing traffic. This data is then used to build a map of current traffic. While this helps in preventing the traffic and does analysis, the underlying problem is that there is a less number of cars that are equipped with a GPS. Machine learning is a such scenario helps to estimate the regions where congestions can be found on the basis of daily experiences and online transportation networks. When booking a cab, the app estimates the price of ride. When sharing these services, how do they minimize errors? The answer is machine learning. The engineering lead at Uber UTC reveals in an interview that they use machine learning to define price of surge hours by predicting the rider demand. In the entire cycle of the services, machine learning is playing a major role. And also machine learning uses in online fraud detection. Machine learning is providing its potential to make a secure and place tracking monetary frauds. The example is online. Consider an example PayPal. PayPal is using machine learning for protection against money laundering. The company is using a set of tools that helps them to compare millions of transactions taking place and distinguish between legal and non-legal transactions taking place between the buyers and sellers. And machine learning can be used in email spam filtering. Text mining, delivering information from text is a wide field which has gained popularity with the huge text data being generated. Automation of number of applications like sentiment analysis, document classification, topic classification, text summarization, machine translation, etc. Finally, I conclude that Python is a user-friendly programming language. It has more than 13 lakhs of packages. You don't need to write any code explicitly. Python is used in every domain in nowadays. With this, I would like to end this webinar, and I really appreciate your precious time and participation. Looking forward to meet you all once again in my next webinar with lots of interesting facts and information for your career. Once again, thank you all and my best wishes.